pop. Pop. Remember the pop command in Atari Basic? Atari Basic. Yeah, that's right. You remember Atari Basic, don't you? Well, Atari Basic, it had a pop command. That's right. One of the commands in Atari Basic was pop. And I could never really figure out what it was for. But that's what it was. Pop. P-O-P. Pop. Can you believe that there was actually a pop command in Atari Basic? And I don't know of any other form of Basic that has it. And also, the Atari Basic is very influential. They had a lot of commands that no other form of Basic had. But it had a lot of the usual ones, too, like the if-then. Like let's see. It had if-then, just like regular Basic does. Like an if-then routine. But, and that's what inspired the common saying, if poo. Like, you know how, like, in Basic you would put, like, if 2 plus 2 equals 4, then print this or something. That's what inspired if poo. Like, if poo is like a Atari Basic command to say if poo. Like, if anybody asks you a question, like, will this be this or something like, will the Bengals win the Super Bowl this year? The answer is if poo. Because that's like a catch-all answer. Like if you don't know the answer, or if you don't care about the answer, or if you know the answer but you don't want anybody to know what it is, you say if poo. But that's right. So Atari Basic did have a pop command. So, and I could never figure out what it did. But now on the internet, somebody has posted this. They've posted a copy of this, the Atari Basic reference guide. That's what this is, and it describes all the commands. See, and best all, they use the Sesame Street font. They do. They really do. They use the Sesame Street font. But there's one statement there. See, pop. That's one of them. Is pop. And according to this, pop is removes return information shared about the last for or go sub statement executed. It's useful for leaving a for next loop early. So I still can't figure out what it does. It says example, pop, go to 10. And I used to think it had something to do with things that inflate. You know how like things that inflate pop. Like balloons and stuff like that. They pop. But I'm going to see, now I have a modern Basic. This is free Basic now on the modern computers. I'm going to use a pop statement in it and see how it reacts. See, line 1, pop. I have to save it. I'm going to save it into this. Save file as pop.bas. Okay, pop. And now I'm going to try to compile it and see what happens. See, and it says variable not declared, pop in pop. So see, now in modern Basic, pop isn't even a statement. It isn't. In modern Basic, pop is not a statement or a legitimate command. They thought it was just any old word that I could use as a variable. So much for pop. And if poo was another one. And what are some other funny commands that Atari Basic used to have? There's a whole list of them here. There's a clog statement. Clog was one of them, but it was some trigonometric thing. So I never use it. It said clog returns the logarithm to the base 10. So I really didn't know what that meant when I was 11. So I never used it. Clog. And peek and poke. Now those were, if you wanted to live dangerously, you could use the poke command. Because they were different on every computer. And game controller functions, one of them was paddle. Klein Middle School would like that function. Paddle. So this is bringing back some fond memories, looking at the Atari Basic reference guide that was that's on the internet. And this is not the book that broke. I remember I used to have like this one book, this booklet that was kind of like in a binder style, and it used to fall apart all the time. And I may still have parts of it laying around. Here's another one I could never figure out how to use, was trap, which was on an error. Trap goes to line specified. I could never figure out how to use that. And what were some other ones? L print, which prints on the printer. Graphics. And log. That's a logarithm, though. But so, and of course it has the error code messages too. Like 162 was always one I liked. Disk full. 162 was disk full. Every time a floppy disk got full. So that's the story of Atari Basic. Yeah, I remember you used to write this programs on Atari Basic back when I was like 11 or 12 years old. Because it was easy to learn back then. And I remember, but a lot of times Atari would always freeze up. Remember that? Like you would clear the screen, and then it would, and you could only type like one set of text, and you would have to hit system reset. And you couldn't get any further, so a lot of times you'd lose the rest of your program. You would lose the rest of your program. You couldn't get it back because you couldn't get past the first line. You could get past the first line, then it would freeze up completely. You hit system reset, same thing would happen. It would lock up. Your computer in Atari Basic would lock up completely. And some of these statements in Atari Basic didn't really have much use. Like one of them I think was BYE, B-Y-E. I think that went to the Atari Basic memo pad, which was pretty much useless. That was like when you didn't have any software, and it didn't have software or anything loaded in, it would default to that. And you couldn't program with it. All you could do was just type stuff in. Or stop was another one, which stops a program, like a break statement. But why would anyone want to use that? I guess it was good for testing out a program, but it wasn't any good for anything else. So that's the story of Atari Basic and just how cool it was.